While we get the last people getting settled and everything, did anybody think of any questions about anything we went over? Yes, ma'am.
You asked me to add.
When we're in searching.
Okay. Is there any way, if this only deals with MLS sales, is there any way to get like a FISBO sale if you were drawing that circle around?
I'll talk about that when we're in searching.
All right.
Remind me when we're in searching.
It might be in my short-term memory, but we'll give it a shot.
Well, actually, I'll talk about it right now.
Could you repeat the question?
This young lady up here just asked, is there any way when you're searching that you can get FISBOs included in your search results? The answer to that is no, not currently. Sometime next year, we're going to be putting Realist inside of Matrix. So you won't have to go out to Realist and then run searches on properties over there. That in Matrix, you'll be able to say, I not only want MLS sales, but I want all sales, because the real estate will be inside of Matrix. Today, if you wanted to do a CMA type thing, that you wanted to include MLS sales and FISBOs, that type of thing, that type of search would need to be done in Realist. So in Realist, you'd be able to get FISBOs also. But sometime towards the end, I would think, of next year, Realist and Matrix will be combined, so in Matrix, you'll have all property records, not just the ones that were in the MLS system. But for now, in the MLS, it'll be the same as it was in Fusion, it'll just be MLS data. All right, let's get into searching, get into the good stuff. So we'll go into a single family search. And this is the template that the board set up for you with the fields that you typically use for searching. But down here at the bottom, you can add any additional fields that you may need. For example, I added public remarks. To add additional fields, you come here to add remove. Here's all the fields that you can search on. These are the ones that you've added. So if I need something extra, like I want water beach access, I can add it onto my screen. I can put it in whatever position I want. Now when I go back to my single family search from any device, I'll have both of those at the bottom. If I only needed that water beach access for one search, I can clean it up, go back to add remove, remove it, and now on my single family, I'll only have public remarks. So that's how you can add any fields that you use that aren't on this list. There's some differences in searching. First of all, if I pick any off-market statuses, like sold, it's going to automatically give me the last 6 months. If I want only 30 days for this search, I can change it to 30. Or if I want a year's worth, I can change it to 365. Or I could go to the calendar and I can say, I only want solds from December 1st through December 8th. So that's how, or I could type in a date range there. So that's how you can determine how much off-market data you get in your results. Next, we're going to talk about table-driven fields. Fields where you can pick multiple items. If I wanted Barrington, Bristol, and Central Falls, if I just click on them, I only get that one. If I want multiples, I hold down my control key or my command key on a Mac, and I can pick multiples. If I have one selected that I don't want, like I don't want Bristol, if I just click on it, it selects that one. So if you have one selected that you want to deselect, you again hold down your control key or your command key on a Mac, and you can get rid of them one at a time. If you ever forget how to use a certain field, there's a question mark in front of it. If you click on the question mark, it's going to remind you of what I just told you. So that's all these pick list fields. Any field, that's how you pick multiple values. The next type of field we're going to talk about is numeric fields, like price. If I type in 300, that's exactly 300. And you'll see down here in the bottom left, you have 5 matches. So there's 5 listings that are active or under contract that are exactly $300,000. To get $300,000 or more, I'll add a plus. Now I want you to watch that 5 if you can see it when I add the plus. I'll tell you when I add the plus. Now, and there's 1,799 matches. Did you see how fast that was? I didn't tab out of the field. As soon as I'm typing in information, it runs the search. If I want 300,000 or less, I take away the plus, I go back to 5, I add the minus, I go to 1,788. And if I want 300 to 500, I just type in 300-500 and I have 877. Again, if you forget how to use any field, you hit the question mark. It'll remind you of what I just told you. Now that's all numeric fields. So if I go to bedrooms and I put 5, I have 36. But that's exactly 5 bedrooms. Most clients don't care if they get extra bedrooms for free, right? So typically you're going to want 5 plus, and that takes us to 45. Now that's the same for any numeric field. Square feet, year built. If in year built I put 2005, I'm only going to get listings that the agents say were built in 2005. If I want 2005 or newer, I'd put 2005 plus. If I wanted 2005 and newer, but I didn't want brand new, I might put 2005-2014. That's all numeric fields. So, in my opinion, the rule of thumb in a numeric field, you want some sort of operand. Plus, minus, or a range. Now there's one other type of field. Fields that people can type into, like remarks, like street name. If I want to know in any of these 45 listings, do any of them have the word pool? I would type in asterisk, P-O-O-L asterisk, and 9 of the listings, somewhere in the remarks, has the word pool. If I do not want any that have the word pool, in front of that, I would put the exclamation point, not containing pool, and there's 36. Now again, if you forget how to use any certain field, you have your question mark. There it'll remind you of what I just told you. Now that's real important, I think, in a field like street name. Let's say you have a street, the name of the street is Oak Forest. Some agent might put Oak Forest as one word. Another agent might put Oak Space Forest. Another agent might put Oak Space FRST. The way I would search for that is I would put in Oak asterisk. Starting with Oak, I don't care how they spell forest. Okay? All right, typically after you put in all of your criteria, you'd go to results. I'm just going to make a quick stop at the map to show you it's going to show me where those properties are located. If I hover over any of them, it shows me price, beds, baths. If I click on any of them, it gives me more information. But typically, once you put in your criteria, you're going to go to results. This should look pretty familiar to you. I think the board pretty much left it the same way they had it in Fusion. But there's things you can do on these results. For example, if I click on the name in any of the heading, I can sort on that field. So if I click on the name address, it'll sort, ascending. Click again, descending. Price, ascending, price, descending. I can also change the way this looks. For example, I like my price and address right at the beginning. So I can go anywhere in the heading, not on the word, that would sort it, anywhere else in the heading, and I can click and drag it where I want it. I want to move my address. Click and drag it where I want it. I can also get rid of any of these fields. Like I don't want city. I can click and remove. Type, click, remove. I can also change the width of the column, so maybe I only want that much so I can see more. These changes, and I can also insert columns, like next to address, maybe I want zip code. So I'll click, I'll insert a column, and I want to insert the postal code. So now I've got my postal code on here. Now these changes I made is only going to be for this session. But if I like what I did, I want to keep this. I like the way this looks. I can come over here to this pencil and paper, click. I'm going to name it My Display. And I'm going to save. Now in my list of reports, I've got my display. I can create as many displays as I want. Maybe I want another display that shows the agent name and phone number. Maybe I want another display for when I'm looking at sold listings that shows me the sold information. Or maybe I want another display for when I'm looking at waterfront property that shows me waterfront information. So I can make as many displays as I want. I can also choose which one is going to be my default. How I'm going to see it when I go to results. There's a lot of agents now, because Matrix is so fast, that they're using the agent full as their default, because they can go through listings fast, looking at the information, seeing the photos. So you could set this as your default. Or maybe you want the one that you created as your default, but you only want 10 per page because you have a small monitor. Or you want 100 per page because you like to work by scrolling. Whenever you get this set the way you want as your default, if you come over to this gear, you can set that as your current default. That way, whenever you go to results, that's the way you'll see them. You can always switch to another display for any given set of results, but then the next time you go to run a search and go to your results, you'll see it your default. Let's take a look at some of these icons. If you hover over any icon, it'll tell you what it is. The first one is your photos. Shows you the nice big photo. Once you're able to upload photos into Matrix come February, we save a lot higher resolution, a lot larger photo. It'll fill this screen, so you'll have nice big pictures. So from this view, you could go, question?
Oops, sorry, I dropped my pen. What's the size of the photo? I mean, like what dimensions?
You
should we be-
upload us the biggest picture you can. I think
Okay.
the recommended is like 1024 by 768 or something, but
Okay.
size-wise, send us the biggest picture you can.
Okay, and then what is it sized down to?
Oh, we end up shrinking them down to like 15K so that they load quicker when
Okay.
people are looking at listings. But the more data you send us, the better quality that finished picture is going to be. Because the more
Okay.
data we have, when we compress it, it's going to keep it more crisp.
All right.
And then from the big display, you can go through the pictures like this, looking at the large photos. Or if you come down to this icon, you can look at the small thumbnails all at once. We also store a medium-sized picture, so there's the medium-sized photos. So there's different ways for you to look at the photos. The next icon is the map. If you click on the map icon, it'll show you the property on the map. You can look at the road view, or you can switch it to automatic, so as you zoom in, it'll show you the satellite. You can zoom in and get a close-up view of the property. You can look at the property from different angles. Keep an eye on this icon here. In the next couple days, there's going to be a whole lot of overlays. All the overlays that you have in Realist, like your flood zone overlay, your zip codes, your lot characteristics. So there's going to be a lot more overlays coming in here in the next couple days. Also, if it's available, you'll have the Google Street View, which will show you what the property looks like from the road. You can walk through the neighborhood. Now, once you can enter listings into Matrix, where I was showing you, you could set where the property's mapped, there's another little link there that says set Google Street View. So if the Google Street View happens to be like this, you can go in during listing maintenance and you can say, okay, that's the way I want it to open up. Not only do you have the Google Street View, but your clients will have that on their portal also. The next one's the history. It'll show you the history of the property anytime it's been in the MLS. You have your attachments, and you have your realist to get to the tax record. So right from any of the views, you can get to all the information about the property. On the single line, you only have these views, whereas on your full display, you'll have any of the additional views that you need. Now my button bar down here at the bottom is kind of boring right now, but once I start selecting properties, it starts lighting up and I can start doing things with the properties. For example, if I want to email those 4 listings to someone, I click on email. If I start typing in a name and it matches any of my clients, it'll pull it up and I can just select them. I don't have to type it all in. Same thing if I start typing in their email address, it'll pull it up and I can select them. I can go to 2, and if I want, I can select multiple clients by using my control key or my command key on a Mac. Or I could type in anybody's email address, keeping in mind if they're not a contact, they won't get the full use of the portal. If I get to this point and I want them to have the full use of the portal, right here's the link, create a new contact. First name, last name, email address at a minimum. I could add as much information as I want, but at a minimum, first name, last name, email address. That would make them a contact. It would put them in my contact database. They would get full use of the portal. Then I'd put in my subject, my email body, and I'd hit send. Now, don't you normally have to tell it what report you want it to send? Why don't you have to do that? Every email goes to the portal, and they have all the customer displays. They can pick whichever one they want to see. The next selection is print. I want to print those 4 listings. If you notice, my display that I created is also available to print. So any displays you make, you can also print them out. So I'm going to print my display for myself, and I'm going to hold down my control key because I want my thumbnail for my client. I'm going to put my header and footer on just so you guys can see what it would look like. So when it generates, I'm going to have my header, then my display and my footer. Then I have my header, my client reports, and my footer. The next button bar item is CMA. That's for if these were my comparables and I wanted to do a presentation CMA, I would click on CMA, it would open up the CMA wizard and walk me through doing a presentation CMA. Directions. Matrix puts the properties in the quickest driving order. Now that doesn't always work for you guys because of appointments, that type of thing, right? If you need to change it, you can click and drag them in the order you want. You can add a start, it would put it at the top, maybe they're home or you're at office. You can add a stop, it would put the stop at the bottom, but if the stop's where you want to take them to lunch, you can grab and drag it, put it where you want it. If you made any changes, you need to regenerate the directions, and then it'll give you directions from the first property to the second to the third, and the third to the fourth. It'll give you estimated mileage and drive time, and at the top it'll give you overall mileage and drive time. So if you need that for your taxes, you can print it out, keep it in a file, at the end of the year you'll have it all. Then you can email or print the directions. There's also some statistics that you can get on the Actions button bar. You have your quick stats, which will give you the minimum, maximum, average, and median. I like this other one better, Quick CMA, because it gives you the same type of information, but it also shows you the listings and then the minimum, maximum, average, and median. So those are the actions on the Actions button bar. The next button bar is Refine. That's for I only want the listings I have checked. I can narrow them. Now I just have those 4 listings. If I want to go back to my original results, I go right here, follow these breadcrumbs back to the original results. Or I could have hit my browser back button. The browser back button will take you back to the previous page. However, if you're on a set of results and you want to go back to the criteria for these results, here's how you get there. If I was on criteria and I typed in all my criteria and then I went to results and then I hit the browser back button, it would take me back to criteria. But everything I had typed in would be gone because that's not the way the page loaded. You'll only do that once and you'll remember, here's how you get back to criteria for any set of results. The next button bar is Save. 2 kinds of searches. Save search. I would type in the name, and here's where, if I wanted to, I could save it to my home page in that My Favorite Searches gadget, so I could use it as a type of hot sheet, or I could just run it right from my home page. That's how I would put it in that. Auto email. One that's going to work for me. The person has to be a contact to receive auto email. If you get to this point and they're not already a contact, there's your link. Create a new contact. First name, last name, email address at a minimum. Subject. Subject is the name of the search. Whatever I type in here is what it's going to show up as here. The point I'm trying to make, under subject, don't put hi, or that'll be the name of their search. And they'll probably think you were when you saved it. Put in something meaningful, the part of town, their criteria, something that's going to mean something to them. There's 2 different emails associated with auto notification. There's the welcome email, the one that goes out the very first time you save the search. Then there's the recurring email, the one that goes out every time there's new matches. Here's what they're going to say. You can add anything you'd like or change any of the wording. The changes I made would only be for this search's recurring email. If that change I want for all of my recurring emails going forward, here's my gear. I could set that as my default. Same with the welcome email, that's what it's going to say. I can add or change anything. Maybe I want to take them out and buy them lunch and look at the listings. If you're going to buy them lunch, I'd recommend putting that on the welcome email, not the recurring email, unless you want to see a lot of your client. But what you could do here, and here's where that would only be for this search's welcome email. If I hit the gear, I could set it as my default. So what you may want to do while you're moving all of your clients over is you may want to add a paragraph. Hey, we just upgraded to a new MLS system. This is your new portal, blah, 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 blah. Save it as your default. Convert everybody over, then take that paragraph out for going forward, whatever you want to do. As you move down, here's where, if you wanted to, you could put this search in concierge mode. Watch what happens to my days of the week if I put it in concierge mode. They went away. Why did they go away? Because it's up to you when the email goes out. Whenever you approve any listings, that's when the email will go. And if I put it in concierge mode, I even have an option, if I want it to send me an email to let me know, hey, you got listings waiting for Jessica, so I don't have to log into the system to see it. It'll notify me by email. And then if I have my email set up to my phone, right from my phone, while I'm sitting in front of a house waiting for people to show them the property, I can be productive right from my phone. I can be approving and rejecting listings. Now, if I was to save this search in concierge mode, as soon as I hit save, it would show me all of the listings and give me an opportunity to reject any of them that I'd like. And then as soon as I approve any, that welcome email would go to my client. If I do not want it in concierge mode, my days of the week come back. So I can have the search run every morning. Or I could have the search run every afternoon. Or maybe I want it to run twice a day, morning and afternoon. It's a hot market. Or this client may have told me they only have time to look at listings on the weekend, so I could just have it run Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if I was to hit save not in concierge mode, as soon as I hit save, it would send that welcome email to my client. There's a question? Did I answer it?
No. Jumping back to subject, where you said you have to type the subject in, if you didn't, it wouldn't default to something?
No. No, because then they'd get a blank email that says, subject blank.
Because now it says what, like a property for you? Or
That's your recurring emails.
recurring had defaults
Yeah.
to something.
Yeah, you have to type in a name for the search. Like west part of town, or just your market area. You need to put something in there for the name of the search.
You wouldn't have the client's name there?
Right, that's
I wouldn't, because they know who they are. See, whatever you type in there is what it's going to show here, and it's on their portal. So if you want it to be something,
But when I want to find a particular client's search,
when you want to find a particular client search, you're going to go to the contact record, and then it's going to be right there under their name. So yeah, there's no reason. In fact, you know, I wasn't making fun of you, but I've seen a lot of agents do that. They'll call it Joe's search. Joe knows it's his search. You don't need to tell him it's his search. Tell him what it is. You know, maybe your 3-bedroom search, or your waterfront search, or something like that. Because it's possible, isn't it, that for a client, you may have more than one search. They may want to live either here or here, so you may set up 2 different ones if you want. So I just make it something meaningful to them. Okay, the last button bar is carts. That's pretty easy. If I want to put it in my cart or one of my clients' carts, I would just pick the person, click on add to, and it would put those listings in their cart. Any questions about searching, emailing, printing, saving searches, carts, anything you can do with your listings? Yes, ma'am.
Do we only have one part for ourselves?
You have one cart for yourself, and you have one for each of your clients. Now, I've had some agents say, well, I want a couple carts. All you would need to do is set up dummy clients. Like, first name my, last name second cart, or second cart you could call it, or whatever. So then you'd have another cart that you could use. So there is a way to get around it if for some reason you want more than one. Yes, ma'am.
On auto notification, in Fusion, we can select if we want every time a picture's added or the price is changed.
It's automatically going to send every time there's a price change, a status change, or if it's a new listing, it's automatically going to send it. In that with everything else. Yes, ma'am.
Can you show us what a broker display of a single property looks like?
Sure, certainly. All I have to do is come here and change it to the full display, and that's what it looks like.
So full display is broker display?
Yep, because that has all the listing, agent information, the compensation, all that type of stuff on it.
And when we print it, is it on just one page or does it go to 2 pages?
There's actually a one-page one right here. If you want all of the information, you'd have to print the full, but then it may go on more than one page, possibly. Especially now that you're allowed to do 1,500 characters in the remarks. If you don't pick the one page, it's a good chance, if the agent did a good job, that it's going to print more than one page. But if you select the one page, it'll fit on one page. But you won't have all of the information.
That's the
So
key
what would
word,
it be
all.
cutting it?
Huh?
What would it typically?
You'll have to look. That's different for every association. You'll have to take a look at them. Yes, ma'am.
For some reason, when I send a full or partial broker display now out of Fusion, the DON, the days on market, drops out. Like when I look at it on my screen, it's there, but when I email it to myself.
I'm imagining that's a board rule, that it's not printable. So if anything like that is stuff you would have to report to the board. We can put print restrictions on, that you can see certain fields on your screen, but if you commit it to a hard copy, it won't print. So it may be something like that. So if you see something like that, report it to the board. Yes, sir.
I think I missed something. When we're doing the auto search,
Auto email?
the auto email rather, do we need to pick which?
No, the auto email is your search criteria. Whatever your search criteria is, that's what's going to go out in an auto email.
Well, which one? The
Which
full
display?
Which
No,
display?
On the portal, your client can look at,
Oh, they can choose.
they can look at only client displays.
Okay. So that's automatic. We
That's
didn't-
automatic. You don't have to do anything. You can't do anything different.